Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Facility Management Times podcast. We are trying, obviously, something different, so hope you like it. And if that is the case, then we'll probably continue doing that. But to this episode, we have a very interesting topic. We are going to talk about the overall focus that a lot of FM companies have been having on sustainability using data technology, but sort of falling into a disconnect between the site level and the portfolio level and the relationship with the incumbent BMS OEM players and their offerings. So the topic of this particular podcast is that it's tough to look beyond the incumbent, but there is a reason why you should, and especially if you are a facility management company looking to differentiate and build a digital suite of sort of products or services around your conventional offering. Now, over the last few years, BMS OEM companies and incumbent players have taken out a lot of their software packages, analytics packages, right on top of the BMS that they've already been offering. And understandably so, but they've taken a bit too long, but glad that they're doing it right now. And you see a lot of site level sort of decisions being done where people are saying that, okay, let's use the BMS OEM software packages over and top of the BMS that's there. And in this podcast, we're just probably going to be looking at some of the pros and cons of doing that. Why you should be looking at using an analytics package from a BMS OEM, under what circumstances, and under what circumstances should you not be looking at it, or perhaps looking beyond it. Now, again, this is in respect to how a facility management company or leaders would think, either at the site level, facility level, or at a portfolio level. Now, obviously, it makes sense for us to start with pros first. So there are 3-4 major benefit points or pro points that I look at if someone wants to start using analytics, hasn't been doing that, but want to use analytics on top of the BMS at a facility level, mind you, is one that there's a limited or no hassle in integration. Now, because the BMS OEMs packages there, they are the ones who put the BMS, it makes absolute sense. You're going to be up and running in no time. And more importantly, the other point is that you obviously have an instant upgrade to your experience from what you were having initially within the BMS. So it feels good. It feels like progress, even though it might not be actual progress. And third, you again have access to better logics, better FDDs versus the BMS that was operating. Again, this is all respective in nature with what you were experiencing before you took the software package of the BMS OEM, but not necessarily the one that's available or the best one that's available in the market. Now, having looked at the pros, according to me, there are some of the cons that are there as well. And again, the cons are more if you are wanting to build something at a portfolio level, at a business level, and not at a facility level. So you are looking at a slow progress beyond once you get started. I mean, you would look at the development or the release cycles are going to be very slow, and that is something that you have to sort of keep with or pay attention to, because you would want to do things in an agile manner given whatever is happening in the FM world. So there is obviously going to be a disconnect over there. Cost, probably we should not even talk about it. It is certainly going to be way more costly than any other SaaS software that's going to be available. And again, not just the cost. The third aspect becomes fundamentally important, is that it will not meet your aspirations. Again, it's not just the analytics that you need, the basic visualization, the FDD. You've got to be looking at your entire asset performance management function. And that is when we'll realize that even when it helps you get started fast, there's going to be a point in time when there is going to be that slow progress, not taking you where you want to be, not having enough of innovation coming through, and just being limited to the expertise that they have accumulated over the years. So you'll not have any external references after some point in time. Your third-party software integrations are going to be costly. You will have to involve a lot more technology sort of people, either from their side or your side, but which ultimately means there's going to be a lot of cost that would come in. And the last part of it is that when you look at the current analytics packages from BMS OEMs, they take a myopic view. They take an extended view of what they've accumulated in the past. So that's not radically or transformatively very different to what you've been used to and what they have known. And hence you're limited by that, which is not what the idea is. When we look at the evolving landscape of asset performance management, enterprise asset management, we are looking at solutions which need to come through at different levels, beyond insights that go to the teams, beyond analytics. How are you able to allow people to collaborate better, investigate opportunities that come their way? Across the life cycle, there has to be something that mimics the current process, but that's not available, and that is where I think that's a strong disconnect that comes through. Now the challenge is that when you ask someone at the facility level, right, they think that what BMS OEMs are providing is something that they need, and perhaps they are not wrong, because it kind of fulfills the requirement that they have in their mind, but not looking at the future, and you don't really complain. I mean, you can't really complain over there. That is where the role of the leadership at the facility level becomes immensely important, and at the portfolio level becomes double or twice as important, to communicate it across the organization that why, even though it is lucrative, it perhaps, or maybe your customer is going to pay up for it, so you make your management fee on top of that. All of that put together, it might still look lucrative for you to decide to move and work with a BMS OEM for the analytics package, but in the longer run, it will not be something that will help you meet your long-term business goals. Again, all of this is from the perspective of facility management company. All of this changes. I mean, not dramatically. I wouldn't say it would change for asset owners, but the arguments are going to be slightly different. We'll probably cover that sometime later. But right now, the idea was to point out some of the pros and cons of using the analytics packages from BMS OEMs or incumbents versus saying what's the best available in the market from startups or other SaaS companies that are bringing out innovation, looking at a complete different perspective on asset performance management, and not just from what's been done in the past, but what is possible in the future, all from the perspective of allowing your teams to be ready for the future, helping you cut down costs, run a leaner, most effective operations and maintenance regime. That's what I think is going to be the future, but would love to know your perspective. If you've had the opportunity of working with incumbent players, what do you think has worked for you? What do you think has not worked for your business? Would love to know. If you have your feedback, drop in a line either on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or anywhere you would want to reach out to me. Would love to know your feedback, your thoughts. And until next time, take care and see you soon.